people are constantly moving, never stopping in one area long. However, it only takes 1 second to completely turn the world upside down. People need to open their eyes and appreciate life, for in a moment, it could all change.
Eric was very small, and he was born prematurely. The doctors right away knew that something was not quite right, but it took us a while to get to the testing portion. They had been looking at Eric's growth and realized that he was not growing quite right, so they actually decided to induce labor so that he would be born early. He was 6 weeks early. When he was born, he was 3 pounds 10 ounces. He was about 7 months old, and we were living back in Pennsylvania at the time. We started going down to Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, and they initially tested him for growth hormone deficiency, which at age 16 months he was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency. We put him on growth hormones to start stimulating his growth, and some of the test results that they got from the testing for the growth hormone gave them results that led them to start testing for muscular dystrophy. And once they started doing those testing, he was about, let me see, it was just after his 2nd birthday when he was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy.
Duchenne, along with other forms of muscular dystrophy, appears in children between the ages of 2 and 6. Muscular dystrophy causes the muscles to decrease in size and grow weaker over time due to the lack of vital proteins in the muscle membrane. Most people with Duchenne lose the ability to walk by the age of 12, and the spine, arms, and legs can also become seriously deformed. Duchenne muscular dystrophy happens when a defective gene fails to make dystrophin, a muscle protein discovered by scientists in 1987. The protein dystrophin is vital because it helps muscles remain healthy and keep their strength. Without dystrophin, the patient's muscles weaken and slowly break apart. The defective gene is found on a person's X chromosome. The reason that muscular dystrophy is commonly found in males is due to the fact that boys have one X and Y chromosomes, while girls have two X chromosomes. Since the disease is genetic, children will not immediately show symptoms. Instead, doctors will monitor the child's growth.
A lot of times what will happen is kids will not be meeting milestones, so there are certain motor skills that you expect them to do at certain ages, and one of the big ones is at 12 months you expect them to be walking. And if you have a kid that's significantly delayed in walking or trying to get up from the floor, trying to kind of crawl around, you'll usually get sent for neurological testing as well as like their creatinine levels is a big one, and then there's another, thiamine is another big major things marker. Like when they go to stand up, there's a maneuver where you have to use your hands off of your legs to stand up. It's pretty indicative of having Duchenne's. Also really tight gastrocs and tight heel cords so they walk on their toes. You'll see the muscles in their calves will be really, really large, like something you would see on an adult that goes to the gym.
After the diagnosis of his muscular dystrophy, we were going to a hospital in Denver. We had made a move from Pennsylvania to Wyoming, and so now we're going to a hospital in Denver. We started going down to the MDA clinic in Denver at Children's Hospital there. And basically the doctors just started monitoring him, doing some different tests, but a lot of monitoring. Muscular dystrophy is something that's still being studied. They're trying to find a cure. So far that has not happened.
Sadly, the struggle with the disease does not end once Eric is no longer a toddler, but continues for the rest of his life.
There are 5 stages. So are they ambulatory and haven't learned how to walk yet? Are they early ambulation, late? And then you've got some kids will have cognitive stuff, and so they'll be seeing neuro for that. A lot of mood disorders. It's a lot of the systems. GI is pretty much always impacted because eventually they can't swallow, and so a lot of them end up with a tube.
Because of his growth hormone deficiency that he is a lot smaller than kids his normal age. So Eric is 16, but he's 17 now. He just had his birthday, but he is not the size of a normal 17-year-old. And so now, because of his muscular dystrophy, he is actually at a point where he's not able to walk. The struggles that we go through, being that he can't walk, somebody has to help him with the bathroom, help him with dressing, any type of care that he needs that the normal person would do, shower, wash their hair, brush their teeth, get dressed. Any type of, normal day-to-day activity that requires, doing something physical, Eric actually needs help with. I get Eric up. He doesn't take a shower every day, but every other day, normally we try to get him a shower. Sometimes in the summertime when it's really hot, he gets sweaty, he's got to take a shower every day, but get him up, get him to the bathroom, get him in his shower. Once he's out of his shower, of course, we get him dressed for school, eats breakfast, and because of Eric's disabilities, the bus comes right to our door and picks him up from the house. Once the bus picks him up, then he's off to school. He does his daily routine at school, and then he rides the bus to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and Grandma and Grandpa help take care of him in the afternoon until I get off work. And then I come pick up Eric. We go home, we have dinner.
Do the normal family stuff, watch TV, if we go out and do something.
And then we come home, and I have to help get him into the bathroom so he can go potty before bedtime. I change him into his pajamas, help get him in bed. Eric has recently been prescribed a CPAP machine, and what that does is it provides continuous air for when he breathes in. It's easier for him to breathe in. His lungs also, his muscles and his diaphragm, being that it's a muscle, it's getting weaker. And so that's what helps you breathe. It's what helps you cough. That's getting weaker, and so he needs some assistance in breathing. At some point, he may have to be on a respirator and
There are
oxygen.
several treatment options available to help individuals cope with the struggles caused by muscular
So
dystrophy.
then you look at what can we do for them. Do they need wheelchairs? Do they need training for home? Are we stretching them so that they don't get contractures, which is a huge part of the rehab part of it? Neurology follows them to make sure that they don't have any cognitive deficits, and if they do, kind of adjust those with different medications, mood disorders. They get followed by a respiratory therapist. They get followed by pulmonology and cardiology. As what happens, kids that have muscular dystrophy, you tend to, because they are sitting, and most of the time, they eventually will be in a wheelchair all day long, so you're in that 90-90 position. It's really important to stretch the gastroc and the soleus and the Achilles tendon junction. Really important to stretch the hamstrings at all times. Hip flexors, so you position them on their stomachs. And then when they start to progress towards the stage where they're not walking anymore, you really want to make sure that you stretch their shoulders, their elbows, their wrists, and their fingers so that they can at least have some dexterity there to help with the bathing, showering, the school functions.
Other than having his CPAP machine on every night to help him breathe, there's not a lot of treatments that he does.
For a while, he was on growth hormone to help stimulate his growth and get him to grow. Once he reached a certain point with his muscular dystrophy, we didn't need for him to grow anymore, because from a caregiver's perspective, he's getting so big. He's about 80 pounds right now. So for somebody to have to maneuver him around, for him to grow a lot, gain a whole bunch of weight, it would be very difficult on the people who's taking care of him. And also, Eric was, aside from the growth hormone and the muscular dystrophy, Eric was diagnosed with autism about 8. Autistic people are very much into music.
He loves listening to his CDs. He loves music of all kinds, anything from classical music to hard rock, and everything in between, country, whatever, you name it, he loves to listen to it.
Because of his physical limitations, a lot of the stuff that he does are electronic based. So, he likes to play his tablet, his computer, listen to his music, and like any typical boy, he loves to watch. The normal case of a child is they're born, they're a baby, they require a lot of care, they start growing up, over the years, high school age, they become more independent, start to be able to do things on their own, eventually graduate from high school, go out on their own, get married, and that type of thing. Eric, because of his disabilities, will always be dependent on his
I think he looks at life like this is the way it's supposed to be. He doesn't know any other way. And he appreciates it.
We didn't know a whole lot about, the growth hormone was easy to deal with. The diagnosis of muscular dystrophy was a very tough diagnosis. We had to do a lot of research and find out as much as we could about muscular dystrophy so that we would know what to expect. Getting with our doctors. We started, once we were back in Wyoming, and started going down to the MDA clinic at Denver Children's Hospital, just getting as much information out of the doctors as we could. And since they're constantly doing research on muscular dystrophy and actually trying to find a cure for it, they're doing research. We would come to the doctor for regular appointments, every quarter, every 6 months, something like that. And they're just continually testing for various things so that they can learn more about it and hopefully find a cure for it. Eric was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy just after he was 2, and they said, oh, it's looking promising, they're going to find a cure. I'm sure that they'll get one in time.